Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, we are joined by Pearlmania 500 himself, friend of the show, longtime friend Alex Pearlman, for a very special game of Rob Liefeld's BLOODP.O.U.C.H. A role-playing game of badass, gritted teeth heroes. Sexy and explosive gunfights. Deadly weapons often held in pouches. And deadly, terrifying cybernetic villains.
My feet are not visible on the page.
These ain't your daddy's comic books, fanboy.
A fair use act of satire with no affiliation with the Rob Liefeld estate.
So a little bit of background about why we're doing this. Way back in January of 2022, which I believe was about 14 years ago, my good friend Alex and I sat down to play a very special game for Party of One, which was the My Little Pony role-playing game that Alex found in his house waiting for him like the Necronomicon in Evil Dead when he moved in. That episode is extremely beloved and extremely popular, so I knew that I wanted to have Alex back on the show, but I needed to find a game that, captured that level of strangeness, which brings us to Rob Liefeld's BLOODP.O.U.C.H, which is legitimately a role-playing game I have on my hard drive that I don't know when I downloaded it. I have no idea where I got it from, and legitimately, the only information I can find about it in 2023 is a Chan site download link, and honestly, I don't want to put that in the show notes, so if you were thinking about checking out the game from there, it's not in there. You kind of have to Google it. But I felt like a weird Rob Liefeld parody RPG that I found on my hard drive, maybe it had been incepted there, felt like the right game to sit down with my dear friend Alex and play. Anyway, if you'd like to learn more about Rob Liefeld's BLOODP.O.U.C.H, I guess Google it, because that's the best that I got for you. Now, you know Alex, Pearlmania 500 from his podcast, the Pearlmania 500 Podcasts. He hosts with his wife, Mrs. Pearlmania. You also know him from his TikTok account at Pearlmania 500, which at the time of this recording has 1.4 million followers. You may know him from the time that one of his TikToks got plastered on CNN as the face of evil TikTok propaganda, which is a weird sentence to have to say about, a friend of mine that I drink and watch wrestling with. Maybe you know him from his other podcast, Them Boys, which he hosts with Satoya, which I've appeared on once upon a time to talk about whatever bullshit was happening with Wizards of the Coast at the time. Side note, fuck the Pinkerton Detective Agency. He's also an incredibly talented stand-up comedian. He also has a Patreon at patreon.com/Pearlmania500. I love Alex. He's one of my closest friends. And if you somehow aren't already checking out his work, I really like you to. You can find links to all of that stuff in the show notes. But first, an ad. I want to talk to you about Till the Last Gasp, a two-player dramatic story game of duels by Darrington Press. Spanning genres and settings, Till the Last Gasp throws you straight into two-player PvP action. Blows are exchanged, emotions betrayed, secrets revealed, and stakes raised until one player is left standing. I got sent a copy of this game by Darrington Press, and y'all, this game shreds. Visually, it's got this board game aesthetic that is cool and rich and tactile, and the actual game itself, designed by Will Hindmarch and Alex Roberts, who you know from probably my favorite episode of Party of One when we played Starcrossed, is this really cool combination of blow-by-blow tactical gaming mixed with these big story gamey style questions that really get at the emotional heart of the battle. It's doing a lot of cool things, and I'm really, really excited that it exists. Anyway, you can learn more about Till the Last Gasp, a two-player dramatic storytelling game of duels, and pick up your own copy at darringtonpress.com. But first, an ad, because they pay the bills. This probably won't surprise you, because this is a podcast about playing role-playing games, which is largely based on reading books. But I like to read books. You've probably seen Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Season 2 is streaming now, and these are the novels that inspired that series. The Grishaverse novels are set in a lavish fantasy world in which magic and science collide, first established in the Shadow and Bone trilogy and further expanded in the Six of Crows duology. If you've seen the Netflix series Shadow and Bone, you like those sort of dangerous outcast characters, Six of Crows is directly up your alley, but there are also a lot of other books in the Grishaverse, and this is perfect for fans of Game of Thrones, The Witcher, Wheel of Time, or, say, Dungeons & Dragons and Blades in the Dark and related role-playing games. Wink, wink. Listen, if you're listening to this show, I'm willing to bet that, a particular vein of, urban, crime, fantasy, magic, science colliding type stuff is maybe up your alley, so I'm willing to bet that you would enjoy Six of Crows if you read it. NPR called it a world that's real enough to have its own passport stamp, and that is the kind of immaculate, elaborate world building that I always am excited to see. To learn more, go to GrishaVerse.com, that's GRISHAVERSE.com, or get your copy wherever books are sold. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am once again sitting down with my good friend Alex Pearlman. Alex, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
I would say it's wonderful to be here, but you just explained what game we're playing, and now I hate you.
That's fair. That's fair.
You found the one creator in this world who I can't stand more than Ben Shapiro. I just want to be clear about that. Like, on my hierarchy of creators I can't stand, this man is the king. Like, he is
I'm so happy about
this.
The
top. And like, it's not just because he can't draw feet and that his characters are bad and often ripoffs of other things. It is actually his name. Okay. You go ahead and pronounce his name for me, please.
So we'll start off by just saying, today we are playing Rob Liefeld's Blood Pouch. B.L.O.O.
No. Blood is not part of the acronym. Look at it again.
Did I get it wrong?
No. Blood.
You're right. Blood. P.O.C.H.
Yeah, pouch is an acronym. Blood is normal. But here's the thing. I thought his name was Rob Liefeld. And for like years, because people like at comic book shops were like, it's Rob Liefeld. And I was like, okay, cool. Rob Liefeld. It's Liefeld.
It's Liefeld.
Fuck you. Am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah,
I can never remember
100%.
the rules. Okay,
yes.
Cool. I don't know if it was like YouTube. We have to wait till like the 7-second mark. But it drives me so crazy because his name is Liefeld, but everyone says Liefeld. And then it's just, he's the worst. He's like, I invented Deadpool. It's like, no, you didn't. You ripped off Deathstroke. And then someone else gave him ambush bug characteristics. You owe Keith Giffen an apology. All right, let's go.
Good. I'm glad. This is what I spent a lot of time. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in depth, but I spent a lot of time thinking about what game I wanted to play with you, and I'm glad that I chose the exact right game for us to sit down and play.
I was
today.
originally told we were going to be playing a Ninja Turtles game, and I was excited about it, and I even started doing research on it, like on what I wanted to do, because I want to let the listeners know, if we had played the Ninja Turtles game that you said was too complicated, I was going to name my turtle after an artist, and I chose Hieronymus Bosch, the guy who paints like revelation scenes and horrifying visions of the afterlife. He was like a Dutch painter from like the 16th century. I was like, this guy's great. And then my ninja weapon was going to be the flying guillotine.
That's great.
Which is the bag that decapitates people on a rope. I had a whole plan that got trashed. And then I was told we're playing Blood Pouch. So I just want to let you guys know, if you hear like an animosity in my voice, it is because I was going to be a very creepy turtle. I had like already pre-planned out a whole guy. So now we have to do a bunch of generators to figure out what we're doing here.
Well, listen, listeners, if you want to hear us play this Ninja Turtle game or not, I'll play a Ninja Turtle game that isn't like hundreds of pages with multiple action types that legitimately I looked at and went, we can't make this work. This is not.
Yeah, it was like it was like the Pathfinder of Ninja Turtles.
Like
games.
this is so much. But if you want to hear us play a Ninja Turtle,
roll for sewer conditions.
If you want to hear us play a Ninja Turtle game, get in the comments, hit me on Twitter, we'll make it happen. But today, before we actually get fully into the muck that is the world of the creations of Rob Liefeld, Alex, what do you got going on that you want the audience to know about?
Well, I am on TikTok, Pearlmania500, Instagram, Pearlmania500. I have my own podcast called Pearlmania500, which I do with my wife, Mrs. Pearlmania. And I also have Them Boys podcast, which I do with my friend Satoyo. It's a really great time. I do all these different things. I am slowly starting to pick up stand-up dates again. I retired for about 5 years, but now I am facing a little bit of a different world and discovering that people like hearing my voice, not just people on your show where you make me play the worst board games and RPGs physically possible. I think the first one, you tricked me because I had a good time. And the second one, we played the My Little Pony game.
Which, I mean, to be fair, that was you made me play that. I don't,
yeah, well, okay. That's true.
Let's make that clear.
Okay, so we're like, okay, I guess this is making it even.
This is making it even.
I did find a My Little Pony RPG in my house after I bought it, and now we're here. So yeah, but that's what I have going on. If you want any of my stuff, Pearlmania, Pearlmania 500.
So yeah, you mentioned it, but last time you came on the show, we played the My Little Pony the My Little Pony game that you found in your house, and
yes,
understandably, because it is a great episode and truly a once in a lifetime journalistic experience, it is a lot of people's favorite episode of the podcast.
That makes me feel good.
Truly, like, it was something special, and it was a joy to make the episode, to edit the episode, and like, I have been wanting to do a follow-up to that episode for a or ever since we played it, which is just about a year at this point.
Okay.
And I've been thinking about this, and I spent a long time being like, what's the vibe? How do I match that vibe? Like, how do I match the energy that game brought? And we were going to play a Ninja Turtle game because I was like, the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game has such weird, detailed, like, character creation that, like, I think it would be a lot of fun.
And I never would have made it past the water level.
Truly, we would like the whole episode would have been the water level. It would have been wonderful. But I was like, it's too complicated. I don't want to have to learn that many rules. Then I remembered that I had this game on my hard drive for legitimately 15 to 20 years. I don't know. I cannot, Alex, tell you when I downloaded this game. I can't tell you how I found out about this game. I can't tell you where I downloaded the game.
Was this on an external hard drive, like that you did a dump onto, or is this actually on like your regular files?
This was in my this has made it through multiple external hard drive to regular hard drive transfers over legitimately, I'm going to say 4 to 5 computers.
Wow.
Like, I'm going to say I'm pretty sure I downloaded this in college.
Okay.
And this has made it across every computer that I have owned as an adult.
Wow. That is dedication. Like, I'm sure your Sonic OC fan art didn't make it across that many.
It didn't. And I know that because I found it recently. Like, I bought one of those adapters. I bought one of those like hard drive adapters that I like somehow had kept a hard drive that I kept in college, and like found all of my old essays and like school papers and stuff. I started cracking those open and I went, oh no, this media stays dead for a reason.
Yeah.
This disappeared into the ether, rightfully so.
I do a regular thing online where I go back and try to delete a lot of stuff that's older than about 3 years. Because I'm like, every 3 years, we're all different people at this point. Fair. And I'm just like, and I'll go in and be like, okay, here's some like, it's not just shitty opinions, but it's also just like shitty delivery. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I could have said that better. I could have said that better. You know what I mean? Like, I get what I was going for, but I wasn't wise enough on how to word it.
Sure. You got to make the refresh every once in a while. Otherwise, you have that moment where you get like a Twitter notification of like somebody liked your tweet from 4 years ago, and you're like, I wish that you did not see that.
Oh yeah, no, I deleted my Twitter.
That's the right call.
Yeah, I'm calmer now. All right.
So we are playing Rob Liefeld's BLOODP.O.U.C.H. This is a role-playing game about the thrilling world of the comics of Rob Liefeld, creator asterisk of Deadpool and drawer of Young Blood and a million other like the spirit of 90s superhero comics.
He created Cable and X-Force. He's all about big muscles, big boobs, little waists, lots of pouches, which is why it's so funny that the name is BLOODP.O.U.C.H. Like, it is a actual critique of Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
That any character he got a hold of, he covered them in pouches. Think Cable from X-Force. And he's famously known for like having an inability to draw human-looking feet. Like, he's just terrible at it.
Not good at drawing feet.
But you know his largest fan base? Florida.
Wild. That wild to me.
The fact I know it is insane. So he did a run on Teen Titans in, I want to say, around 2006 or 2008. I was at a comic book store and a representative from DC Comics was there. And I really liked that run of Teen Titans. And I was like, hey, man, I got a question. Like, why did you let Rob Liefeld write and draw 2 issues of Teen Titans? It has nothing to do with anything. All the faces are really pinched. Mm-hmm. It just looks terrible. Like, there are no backgrounds. They're just fighting and existing in like nebulous space. Like, the backgrounds are just pink and white and blue. Like, there's no scenery behind them. And I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you let that happen? And the person looked me dead in the face and said, we needed to boost sales in Florida. And I'm like, what? It broke my brain.
I need to take a moment to just process what I've just like the matter of factness of it.
It was like I stared at them and I was like, I don't know why that makes sense, but it does. Like, it's
true,
just
like, legitimately, I get it.
Listen, we're both wrestling fans. We understand popping a rating. Like,
yeah.
But he almost nuked like that run of Teen Titans. Like, people,
I remember that run of Teen Titans, and I remember it largely because I remember the covers of it came out, and people were like, "Why is Rob Liefeld here?"
Yeah, and the guy was the villain that he created, because it was like an original creation for his villain. He has like a bandana with long tails. It's like a black bandana. He's wearing a purple bodysuit with black gloves and claws. And then he has that Mr. Sinister style ribbon cape. And I'm like, who is this guy? I don't even remember what he was called, but it was just like, and his name was like like the Blood Ripper or some shit. Like, it was so bad. And I'm like, does this have anything to do with the overarching story? They're like, no. I'm like, does anything in this ever happen that will ever be mentioned again? They're like, absolutely not. We are popping a rating.
You got to pop a rating. Sometimes you got to pop a rating.
Yep. Just in Florida, though.
Speaking of Alex Pearlman, let's play a bad role-playing game together.
Let's do it. I'm sorry I've burned so much of your time already.
No, it's fine. So we are playing BLOODP.O.U.C.H, and I'm gonna read the opening text of the game and know that this is text that has been plopped over imagery pulled from, I believe, legitimate Rob Liefeld comics.
Yeah, and it's from like Wildcats or something like that. Like, he had like Blood Strike, like all these different things, these crazy names. And it's straight up like, I think I owned this comic book at one point in the 90s.
The Techno-Organic Syndicate is an ultra-secretive group comprised of the richest multi-billionaires on planet Earth. Equipped with hyper-advanced technology, they have reached the very edge of their ultimate goal, immortality. Only one member will be able to claim the immortality seed, and so the ranks of the Techno-Organic Syndicate struggle against one another. The Syndicate has devised a deadly filter to weed out competitors, the Blood Procurement Organization and Universal Combat Hierarchy, or BLOODP.O.U.C.H. The lure of immortality has attracted others to BLOODP.O.U.C.H, mercenaries and assassins alike, seeking to claim the immortality seed for themselves.
And that's it. That's the opening.
Opening.
That is a full comic book page he just read to you guys with images of a future techno world. But I love how many extra words were put in here.
Yeah.
Jeff, the Techno-Organic Syndicate. You could just say the Syndicate. I don't even know what that. Then ultra-secretive group comprised of the richest multi-billionaires on planet Earth. You could just say a powerful syndicate. The end.
Yeah.
Like, it's all of that is assumed. Equipped with hyper-advanced technology, they have reached the very edge of their ultimate goal, immortality. They almost have immortality. Like, what is this? Also, the fact it's called the immortality seed. I don't know if you played a lot of Warhammer 40K. Do you know of it?
I know of it. I don't know. I don't know where this story is going, though.
Okay, so I want to focus on the word immortality seed. Okay, because in Warhammer you have Space Marines, right? And they're these big. They're like, they've been like genetically modified guys. Okay, and one of the things is like what creates them is this thing called a gene seed, right? And so when they're murdered or die on the battlefield, there's guys who run around and collect the gene seed, right? Gene seed is a new term because when it was originally written, it was gene sperm. And
right.
So people running around were just harvesting sperm from dead bodies. And they were like, listen, this is weird even for Warhammer fans. We got to roll this back. So Like, I'm reading Immortality Seed biblically, okay? This is a vial of cum that these people are fighting for. Yeah, edit that out, fucker.
Nope, that's staying in. Fuck it.
Okay.
All right, so we have to make you a character, and we have to also make a villain for you to fight today, an ultimate villain for you to match. I need to come up with a name. You have a name already, which we'll get to in a minute because it's incredible. I'm going to use the name generator in this book, which is I'm going to roll 2d6, form it as a number.
It's insane. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm tapping into the true spirit, I think, of an adjacent thing that I think also captures the spirit of the 90s that I'm excited about. I've got my ICP dice. I've got my Hatchet Man. Whoop whoop. I'm hitting roll.
Is the Hatchet Man a 1 or is it a 6?
It's a 6 because you see the Hatchet Man, you get excited. 53. The Strike Force.
I think that's a real comic.
I think that's just a term.
Wait. But here's the thing, though. Here's what drives me crazy about this, right? Because you're rolling 2 dice and you're taking the 2 numbers. You're not adding them. You're putting them together, right? Yeah. So you rolled 53 and you rolled 31. Or you rolled 35 and 13. So that could be Max Blast. Do you see the logic I'm throwing down?
I do, but I'm now sitting at the Max Blast Strike Force.
Ooh.
And that's just a great name in
and of
itself.
A Mountain Dew. That's a Mountain Dew flavor that hasn't been rolled out yet.
It is. And I feel like that's all right. So the Max Blast Strike Force.
It's Nerf or nothing.
All right. So world build with me here a little bit. Talk. What are we thinking with the Max Blast Strike Force? How do they factor into this techno-organic future world and the fight for the immortality come?
Okay, so is that the bet? Oh God, I can't believe I've created immortality come as lore,
and that's the last time I'm saying it. But I needed to say it at least once.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So the Max Blast Strike Force, is that an organization or is that just a bad guy?
I think it's a squad of bad guys. I think it's like 5. I am going to roll one more time for their leader. I got 63, which is Wave.
Okay.
And 32, Wave Hammer. All right, Wave Hammer is a good.
It's a good
leader of the Max Blast Strike Force.
Okay.
Wave Hammer. Gotta ride it gotta ride a hammer like a surfboard, right? Like a Thor knockoff.
No. Like a jet ski.
Like a jet ski. Yeah, all right.
It's a jet ski because it's the 90s. Okay. Remember, it's the 90s. So everything is mega. It's all, extreme. So the wave hammer, he should be aquatic based. I think that we should put him he's from the Florida Keys. He's from the Florida Keys.
Gotta pop Florida. Hear me out. If you envision a hammer that you ride like a jet ski, it's got to have like little handles on the handle part.
Yep.
So it's kind of like one of those like sword hammers. So it's got a hilt. So you hold the sides of the hilt.
Yep.
The head of the hammer you stand on with your feet, and that functionally turns it into a Segway, which is especially funny.
Yes. So he rides a water Segway jet ski.
Yeah.
He started out as a underwater archaeologist.
Sure.
And he found a bunch of money in Spanish doubloons off the Florida Keys. And then he immediately pivoted and became a cyber mercenary with that money because that was always his goal. And he is secretly the Secretary of Agriculture of the state of Florida.
That feels good. That feels great. That feels wonderful. I feel solid.
Because he's in with the sugar plantation people.
Yeah.
Because they really run. Those are the people who run Florida.
That feels solid. That
sugar
works.
Cartel. Yep.
That works.
And Max Force Strike Force. It's not Max Force Strike Force.
Max Blast Strike Force.
Yeah, that is the cover because they're also TV. They're they're sponsored TV mercenaries, right?
Yeah.
And they go around the world like they were formed to fight communism, but this is the mid 90s. That's not happening anymore. So it's just like they just use terrorism as a blanket thing.
Sure.
But it's really there to keep people in other countries buying solely Mountain Dew products because they're sponsored by Mountain Dew. And
Sure.
anytime a foreign nation creates their own Mountain Dew knockoff, you know, like their version of Mr. Pibb, but Mountain Dew, that's when these guys go in.
All right. So here's the big world detail that you have just planted in my lap that I think is very important. That implies to me that the immortality seed is actually a flavor of Mountain Dew that is so top secret that it may in fact grant you the power to be extreme forever.
Yeah, and it's white Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Because it's still cum. Like, we want to be clear about this.
God, what is the actual white Mountain?
Is there a white? Isn't it like White Lightning or something?
It's called Mountain Dew Whiteout. It's called Whiteout. It's smooth citrus.
No, there's another one. Oh, this is just clear. There's another one that's Voodoo Mystery.
Mountain Dew Whiteout is their smooth citrus white variety.
Oh my God. Okay.
Great. So that, because I think that's the other half of it, is like, that to me is the other half of the equation, is that they are ensuring that no one else, they are working on behalf of the multi-billionaires to make sure that no one else can gain access to the material, like to the formula needed to generate the immortality seed, which of course is a top secret ultimate flavor of Mountain Dew that you have to produce in certain qualities to get the energy that you need to create the immortality seed. That is what the Max Blast Strike Force is doing, and I think that's where we're going to get to know your character. But I think that's going to be the hook of the battle, is that you are going to have to face down Wave Hammer and the Strike Force, because you have been hired by someone who is not a multi-billionaire who has stumbled onto the formula for the ultimate variety of Mountain Dew.
And that man's name, Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb. Yeah, he's just Mr. Pibb. Like, I don't know what you guys want from me.
In peak 90s fashion, it is a guy in a suit with the largest shoulder pads you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Is it a fedora hat, or is the head just naturally in shadow?
I think that in the end, I don't want to spoil too much, but Mr. Pibb's going to be a bad guy.
Sure.
So
the mysterious businessman in a 90s comic always is.
Yeah, he is. But like he's bald with like a thick neck, like Kingpin.
Sure.
Or like 90s Lex Luthor, because 90s Lex Luthor was a little bit of a thickum.
Yeah.
You go back and look at that, like right around pre-Doomsday, Superman, all that stuff. So he's just like a thicker businessman. He's not super rich that we know of. He is not a member of the syndicate that we know of. Seems to be a pretty good guy. He's working for Mr. Pibb.
One glowing eye scar down the right side of the face. Gotta be.
Yeah, we'll throw that in there.
Gotta.
And he says that the techno-organic syndicate comprised of ultra secretive rich multi-billionaires are what took his eye.
Yeah.
He's got a killed his daughter.
He's got a vendetta.
Yeah, and they killed his daughter, Miss Pibb.
Fuck. All right. Great. So with that, introduce us to your character, and then we'll go about building their stats and kick off the action. So
I sent you a picture of this because I couldn't believe it when it came up. I did a 90s extreme character generator that I just found online, and I clicked through a couple of them. All right. And the third one was the winner. And Jeff Stormer, are you ready to meet our Rob Liefeld blood pouch person?
Yes.
His name is Bad Cry.
Bad Cry. So fucking funny.
It's just Bad Cry.
Bad Cry. So fucking funny.
He's rippling with muscles, obviously rippling with muscles. Ethnically ambiguous. He wears a Scully like a skull, like a Scully hat. But like he may have hair. We don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's so tight on his head. If he needs to have hair at some point, he will. But it's implied that he is also bald. He wears sunglasses all the time. Those sunglasses, though, are green. They are green sunglasses. I don't know why. Rob Liefeld doesn't know why.
No.
Nobody does. He was just like, these will be different. They're green. Obviously covered in pouches. Covered head to toe.
Gotta be.
I said rippling with muscles. He's tan. His face is very pinched. And then he was Mr. Pibb informed him of the immortality seed and said, I need you to get this because in Bad Cry's mind, the immortality seed needs to be taken so no one can use it. That's what he thinks he's doing. He thinks he's trying to stop anyone from getting this.
Yeah. All right. So, I think we're just going to throw right into the action because I don't think that this is a comic with enough subtlety to like follow. Like, this is not a comic that shows you like following a trail or like putting together clues. This is a comic that pretty much shows you kicking down a door and fucking. So I think like
I can lay this out for you really fast. This is the entire backstory, right? My name is Bad Cry. I make bad people cry. That's how I got my name. I was told by Mr. Pibb that there's some rich multi-billionaires out here in the technoverse who've created an immortality seed, and it's my job to track it down and make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Cut. I'm kicking the door into a bar.
Absolutely.
It's just a bar, and then he just goes, I'm here for information in this juke joint. That's it. Because I don't know why he thinks everything is a combination of Roadhouse and Van Damme movies, okay?
It's one frame of reference.
It doesn't have the subtlety of Steven Seagal.
I've been rolling random minion names in the background, and
Wonderful.
I can't wait for you to hear the one that I just rolled. All right, I got one more.
Okay. The best part about this name generator, by the way, that is in the PDF, that is a part of this, is that it even shows that like Rob Liefeld does not branch farther out. Like here, I'm just gonna read a couple random words he wants you to put together: battle, pain, shard, cyber, strike, stroke, sword, hammer, hunt, whip, wolf, low. Like what? You could be blow wolf? Like that's a possibility. You could have accidentally not wolf blow. That's also bad. Like
truly no great
no, everything is Shatterstar. He just wrote Shatterstar 67 times. Welcome to X-Force.
Well.
Shatterstar. What's your name? Cyber Griffin. Like what the fuck?
All right, so I think that you have found the location of actually no, we are going to start off with a fight because it feels like the right option.
Do I need to generate this character?
Oh yeah,
I'm
right.
So
you should
confused.
we should make your character. All right.
Because I read these rules twice. I do not understand them.
All right. Let's walk through character creation. You have four major attributes. You have cyber, muscle, pouches, and weapons.
So, oh my God. Okay. I understood part of this, right? Cyber and muscles, got it. Pouches, that feels kind of like a bonus roll.
Yeah, pouches are bonus dice that you can add to a roll. If you succeed at that, if you pull weapons out of your pouches, you can add dice to your roll.
Yeah.
If you succeed at that roll, then you get those pouches back. If you don't, then you have used up the material in those pouches until you can adequately like recharge and reload, which generally means you've beaten down a number of minions and are like hiding somewhere, dramatically reloading your weapons.
It literally says in here that no one touches you. It just says as long as no one has touched you, your pouches regenerate. But I want to, Jeff, you are blowing past. I'm going to read the listeners exactly what it says under pouches. Pouches. These could be used to add to any other role. Characters with lots of pouches are better than characters who don't have lots of pouches. If you guys still don't understand who Rob Liefeld is, I need you just to Google Rob Liefeld art, and you will see why
Just
this is
scroll the Google
so
image search as you're listening to the
fucking
episode.
funny. This is so funny that even the people who made this game were like, fuck it. Like that the opener is cyber, I cannot stress. As two people, Jeff and I, who both were alive and on the internet in the 90s, when you cyber someone, that was writing dirty words at each other. But in Rob Liefeld's head, he's like, no, that means your arm's a gun. Like
That means that you have banded metal somewhere on your... The man loved banded metal.
Banded metal. Loved it. All right. So I have to roll for these?
No, you are going to assign...
Okay.
You between your muscle and cyber, you have 5 dice to assign. You have to have a minimum of 1. So you really have 3 dice to assign between your cyber and your muscle.
Okay.
Cyber means that you can take more of a beating in combat. That means that you act faster and that you can take more damage.
Okay.
Muscle means that you can inflict damage and hurt other people.
Okay. Gotcha. So I'm going to put 2 into cyber because that feels like Constitution.
Yeah.
And I'll put 3 into muscle because my name is Bad Cry. I want to make people cry bad.
That feels good, especially because you have 3 pouches. You start with 3 pouches. As you kill minions and enemies, you can collect more pouches.
Okay, where does it say that in the rules? I read them. I don't remember seeing that.
It says this in... Where does it say this? Weapons are keyed to your... Additional cyber, muscle, pouches, and weapons are acquired by killing opponents during the game.
Okay.
Oh, you have to buy pouches, but I'm gonna say fuck it, and I'll give you.
I'm gonna take pouches. Okay.
To buy pouches mid game to outfit yourself with weapons.
We're already. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
That's how we're gonna do this.
Yeah, we're modding this shit.
We're already modding this. This was the other thing I meant to say at the top of the episode. I can find no record of the people that made this. I found evidence of that, evidence that they existed, but as far as I can tell, they dropped out of the industry. They dropped out of the industry and off the face of the earth sometime around 2013. So this is very much just us playing with a weird thing and saying fuck it whenever we reach an impasse. Also,
to be clear, the PDF we're looking at as we're scrolling through it, again, it's 10 pages. Of those 10 pages, 5 of them are artwork. And even the ones with words on them, I'm looking at the making the character, page 4. That's just a woman's butt in the middle, and her nipples are pointing at the different size weapons you can have. I am not this. Jeff can agree. You're
exactly correct.
It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Her butt is pointing at the roll. Every die that rolls a 5 or 6 is a success. It makes no sense. Go ahead.
That's all. I'm glad that you called this out because I do want to capture the experience of reading this PDF.
Yes.
All right. So now that you've got your cyber and muscle, you have 3 pouches. You can collect more pouches as you go.
Okay.
Now you also get to define what your weapons are. You start with a number of weapons equal to your muscles.
Okay. So I have 3 weapons.
You can decide if that means you have 3 individual weapons. Okay. Or if it means you have 1 giant weapon. Functionally, I can't tell you that it makes a difference.
Yes, because here's the thing. I was reading the weapons. I was so confused by this, okay? Because this is what it says under weapons. There are 3 sizes of weapons: small, big, and huge, which is already insane. Medium is already big. You either have small, big, or huge. You can carry a maximum number of weapons equal to your max muscle dice, which you just said. For an example, a character with 5 muscle can also carry 5 weapons, even when injured. And you can use all of your weapons at the same time. So I don't understand what's the difference of having 3 small guns versus having 1 giant gun that does 3, right?
Correct.
So I'm just going to say that Bad Cry, he has a huge weapon that is made of small weapons. I don't know how this makes sense. His arm, so around his right arm,
It's
he
that,
has
Mo Sislak meme where you turned one gun into 5 guns.
yeah, but no, now I have 2 knives. I gotta tell you, it's pretty great. The having 2 knives is a good life. So, but around his, I'm gonna describe his weapon. Okay,
Please.
it is 3 handguns, laser handguns, obviously, that are around his wrist like a bracelet. So when he punches, they also shoot. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
take 3 pistols and glue them at angles so it's like 3 coming off of him in different angles. And it's a gun. It's like a gun gauntlet. So he punches and shoots at the same time.
I like that. That's great.
Okay.
That rules. All right. So, so now, and that's your character. That's it.
That's Bad Cry.
That's Bad Cry.
Ethnically ambiguous, tan man who may or may not have hair, who has a gun gauntlet. He has a series of pouches strapped across his chest like a bandolier. What's in them? We don't know.
We'll find out.
And his arms are banded cyber. Both his arms are like Constrictor from Marvel. They have metal bands running all around his arms. His legs, though, we cannot see.
No,
we never see his legs.
They are hidden.
They are conveniently hidden by the door he just kicked down, by knocked over bar stools. He often fights behind things. Yes, that's it. And his butt, immaculate.
Gorgeous.
Well shaded.
Knees full of muscles.
Rippling knees. Rippling knees.
So you're in this bar, you've kicked down the door.
Yes.
And what has happened is because this is what happens in one of these books. 3 bar patrons have stood up to fight you.
Okay.
It is what it is. You've impeded on their bar.
I kicked the door in.
You kicked the door in, they're gonna throw down. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, they're listening to George Thorogood on the jukebox, moving on over.
And then we hear the record scratch as the door is kicked in.
Because the door hits the jukebox. So that's what stops it. It's the techno future, but they still listen to vinyl.
Yeah.
No touch tunes in techno future.
All right. So that's where we're at. And I think they stand up, they grab their pool cues. One of them pulls out like a very boxy looking pistol. Like it's, I guess, theoretically supposed to look like a Glock, but it just kind of looks like a box.
Yeah. And for some reason it has 4 barrels.
Yeah, exactly. Pulls out a gun. One of them pulls out a pool cue. The other one pulls out one of those like serrated knives with a handle on it that's got spikes along the handle.
Okay.
And now they are circling you. And that's where we're going to have our first battle.
Okay. And to be fair, it does say in the rules, because again, I was losing my mind about this. Battles are always one-on-one, no matter how many combatants are present. Because they have to use Xena and Hercules rules or like our Power Rangers rules. Doesn't matter how many putties are around you. You are going to fight them one-on-one. If all 3 of them were to attack at once, I only have 1 gun gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do here? So, okay. So I'm ready.
All right. Let me just map these out. Okay. So we now roll our cyber dice. And so the person with more successes on a cyber dice gets the drop on the other and gets to add 4 extra dice during their first attack.
Okay. And that's 5 or 6 is success.
Yeah. You want to roll the number of dice associated with your cyber and also 3 extra dice. You just get 3. Everybody gets 3 extra dice.
Okay. I have 1 6. So 1 success.
I also have, so I've got 1 success. I've got 2 successes, and I've got 2 successes. So I think one of these guys is going to get a drop on you.
Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense. I was concentrating on kicking the door in. Cool.
Yeah. And then they just run at you. Like the second you start yelling, they just run at you because that's the way that this works in these stories. They're angry. Their bar is under attack and they're throwing down.
Okay.
So now I am going to roll I'm gonna build a pool of dice here because I have to kind of take this step by step to really like get a handle on this, and so the listener understands. You start with 3 dice. You always have 3 dice. These are your core dice. On top of that, you can add your cyber or muscle depending on what you're trying to do. I think that the guy that's chasing after you is the guy with the knife, who I have named Bill. So he's going to add 2 muscle because he's got 2 muscle, and then he also has a knife, which I guess is
that's a weapon. That's a small weapon.
So that's going to be an extra 1 dice, and he can always add that dice. He does not have any pouches though.
Yeah.
Because he's just a minion, and therefore, if he gets hit once, he's going to die. So I am now rolling 6 dice to see how many successes I get, and you are going to roll your cyber dice to evade this.
Plus the 3.
Plus the 3.
Okay.
That is 4 successes.
I have 1 success.
All right. So, would you like to spend any pouches to roll additional dice on this?
I have no idea what I'm doing yet, so no.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to save them like Skyrim potions at this point.
Great. If you get more successes, your opponent loses 1 pouch, so you lose 1 pouch. You're down 1 pouch.
Okay, I'm down a pouch. I'm down to 2 pouches.
All right. It is now your action.
It's now my action. All right. I will turn to Knifey Boy, and I am going to... So I get 3 for my muscles.
Yep.
I get 3 for my weapon, so I can roll 9 dice.
Correct.
All right, but in this world, it's all about the pouches, and he has no pouches, so I believe he should already be dead. I just want to point that out.
No, so once you get to 0 pouches, then you start to lose points out of your cyber and muscle.
Okay.
And then you are beaten.
All right, I'm rolling these dice. That's a lot. 3 successes.
All right, I am rolling 4 dice. No successes. Loses a point of cyber. And gets like thrown against a wall into the jukebox, and it starts playing again. What song starts playing as he gets slammed back into the jukebox?
Rolling Stones, Street Fighting Man.
All right. He is gonna get back up. He's gonna grab a bar stool, which I'm gonna call a big weapon.
Okay.
And he's gonna run at you.
Okay.
So he's got my 3 dice. I've got 2 muscle and 2 weapon. So that is a bunch of dice. I'm not counting this.
Okay.
That is 1, 2, 3 successes.
Jesus. Okay. So I have to roll 2 cyber plus the base 3. And if I want to use a pouch.
Yes. But you don't lose your pouches for rolling them, I don't think.
It does say you do.
Or you lose them if you fail the roll, but otherwise you get that pouch back.
Okay. I got you. So I'll use a pouch then.
All right.
Just throw it in there. All right. 3 successes.
All right. It doesn't say what happens on a tie, so I am happy to hand.
Actually, it does. I don't know if you know this. It says at the very top. The one with more successes gets to drop on the other and also gets to roll 4 extra attacks during their attack. If the rolls are tied, they are locked in a stalemate and can only deliver cutting remarks back and forth until one of them flies or teleports away. Now, that's to start the battle. They don't deal with it anywhere else in this. But I would assume that, like, your dude swings, and I just, like, look, he swings and he misses, right?
Yep.
And Bad Cry looks at me, he's like, I'm just here for the cum. You're going to have to edit so much silence out of this podcast of you pinching your nose.
So I think that, at that, I'm trying to decide, what. I think at that, he says, we don't tolerate outsiders coming to our bar and sniffing around our cum. Okay.
To which Bad Guy replies, I don't want your cum. I want the cum. And then he just stares. And I guess
I think what happens then is I'm just going to say immediately that the other 2 guys, you stare and glower with such intensity that the other 2 guys turn tail and run.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we have an intimidation check on this somewhere?
I think that, you know what? Roll me a muscle roll.
A muscle? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think your weapons get added to this.
No, I'm just doing muscle plus the base 3.
Yeah.
All right, that is 2 successes.
I think, yeah. Because I'm saying that like the other guys both had muscle of 1, so they both turn tail and run.
Yeah, because
Immediately.
as by the way, he's flexing as he's going, give me that cum. This episode is going to be almost unlistenable. This game is unplayable.
All right. So they turn tail and run, and I think that the main guy, Bill, I think sees his friends run, locks eyes with you, and then does the peak 90s toxic masculinity thing of like throw back a laugh, crack open a beer, and go, I like the cut of your jib.
I'm not here for jibs. I'm here for the cum.
It's gonna stop being funny eventually, but I don't think
It's gonna be. No, you know what's hilarious is my wife in the next room. I can tell confused as hell as to why I keep yelling, give me that cum. She knows that I'm like talking to you on Zoom. She doesn't know what we're doing.
Right.
So
Right.
Mrs. Pearlmania is just like, who did I marry?
I feel like she knows. I feel like she's got an idea.
I think she has an idea.
All right. So, throw open beers. Walks over to the bar, opens a suitcase. We get a shot of you looking at the suitcase back to Pulp Fiction style, where it's just like glowing light on you, and then we cut to a top secret in 90s computer font. It says like undisclosed location, Florida Everglades, and it is the top secret military fortress of the Max Blast Strike Force. And it is, peak like Legion of Doom style. It is like a giant military fortress on stilts in the swamps of Florida that are not really drawn terribly like accurately. It's sort of just a mishmash of whatever plants that he thought to.
I picture it as kind of like almost like it's definitely a knockoff of like a Cobra Terror Dome from G.I. Joe, except like you said, on stilts because it's in the Everglades. So like hurricanes happen. Yeah, I can totally see that.
So you arrive. What is your big dramatic entrance look like?
All right. Obviously, I'm on a fan boat.
Gotta be. There's no doubt.
Obviously, I'm on a fan boat. That is being pulled by alligators. Like it doesn't make sense why I would use the fan, but like the fan is working. It's a jet fan though. But alligators are also a part of it. Kind of like reindeer, like pulling my fan boat. It logically makes no sense. But I'm like riding towards it, and I just yell, "You call yourself the Max Blast, but I'm here to make you bad cry." And it doesn't.
And immediately a laser blast flies at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's 90s heat effect, so it's a bunch of like circle drawings and everything is sort of like half erased, so it kind of has that wiggle effect.
Yeah.
As somebody shoots a heat laser at you, as like big, no shirt, He-Man style, like straps on the chest, huge shoulder, like huge epaulet style shoulder pads, because obviously, bald but with a ponytail. Got to be bald with a ponytail.
Yep,
pinched face. Standing in front of you is one of the Max Blast Strike Force, who is like the guardian of like the outside region. This is Sunstroke.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's got heat laser powers.
Yeah. No, Sunstroke being in the Florida Everglades makes total sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're never safe from Sunstroke in the Florida Everglades.
Yeah. Who are you?
Stay outside long enough, you're likely to meet Sunstroke, and it's got big stylized word bubble.
Yeah. You think your heat can dry these tears? I'm bad cry.
All right, let's roll some dice.
Okay, so we're doing cyber. I hate that I now at least understand the base. So I'm going to do my 2 cyber plus my 3 baseline. I have all my pouches back, so I will use a pouch. I'll use one of my pouches. All right, that is 3 success.
All right, you get to go first and add an additional 4 dice to your first attack.
Okay, so I get my 3 muscles. I get my 3 weapons.
Just hurling very 90s fireballs at you from all sides.
Gotcha. So base 3, 3 muscles, 3 weapons, plus another 4. I want to let you know this is like playing orcs right now in Warhammer 40K.
This has big Warhammer Shadowrun fistful of dice energy.
Yeah, this is a lot of DACA. And knowing my luck rolling this many dice, I'm going to let you know that I might get 1 success.
All right, and I'm going to roll my my cyber plus my 3 core dice.
Oh, that one's correct. Okay. That so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes.
All right.
Can I describe what's happening?
Yes. Describe how you kill Sunstroke very specifically.
So I'm picturing Sunstroke doing a blast, right? And the blast, for whatever reason, tips the fan boat forward, like propelling Bad Cry into the air. Bad Cry is flying at him like, give me that comb! And like as he's flying forward, he has his right fist back because that's where the gun gauntlet is on. And as he gets in, he punches Sunstroke directly into his already squished face as all of the guns go off, just disintegrating his head. And now Bad Cry covered in blood, top to bottom, like Brock Sampson from early Venture Brothers, like a comical amount of blood. However, this is a 90s comic book, and so the blood is black.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it has to be that weird, like it's not red, but it's clearly blood.
Red would get us put in a black plastic bag and sold with the adult comics. If it's just black ink, you could argue that it might be sweat.
We're not being sold next to Heavy Metal and Witchblade. All right.
No.
We are being sold still prominently on the new releases stand. There are 12 copies of this comic. We don't know why. It only ever sells 2. Because we're not in Florida, in the real world of the comic book. But the also the other thing that happens, I believe Sunstroke was about to say something, and so to signify a 90s comic book death, his speech bubble just says ... and weird popping asterisks.
Yeah,
that means you're dead.
Yep.
That's the last gasp. It did not make sense to me as a child reading these because I said his last words are like doesn't make sense, but yeah.
You get inside the facility. The fan boat explodes. You walk into the facility. I think that we are in like a docking bay area. So there are badly drawn boats and like very obviously photo referenced like jet fighters.
Yes.
The proportions of this base don't make a lot of sense because this is like an aircraft carrier number of like vehicles in this docking bay.
You know, the one thing that we really fucked up on is Bad Cry should have, and inexplicably, Bad Cry should have like an assistant or a compatriot that is a little blonde girl.
Oh, absolutely.
That is inexplicably is now here. She wasn't in issue 1 or 2, but by issue 3, they realized from looking at the marketing that they weren't reaching the female demographic. So he has like Boom Boom from X-Force.
See, I here's what it is. As you're walking in, I think that like as we get introduced to each member of the Max Blast Strike Force, you get a buzz in your ear, and because I think when did Metal Gear Solid come out? Is that too late?
Metal Gear Solid, no, but there was still Metal Gear before then. So yeah, so you're saying she's like Oracle. So we're getting the 90s, like the green tint overlay. Like she's the voice in your ear as she's like running an entirely elaborate, like tech facility, which is just dozens of CRT computer screens. Okay. So the tech facility she's in is again, it's the 90s. It's like a hover jet type of thing. And I just rolled for it. It is called the Battle Sun.
Great. Yep.
She's in the Battle Sun that is floating, and it hides in the sun. It's not in the sun itself, but like if you look at the sun, you never look directly into the sun. So that's where they don't have a cloak.
Yeah.
But it just floats by, I don't know, waves. Who gives a shit? That's it. And her name is just going to be Stephanie.
Stephanie feels right.
Yeah, Stephanie. So Battlecry puts up to the earpiece he now inexplicably wears. He goes, Stephanie, I'm in. I'm looking for the cum. And then Stephanie's like, all right, try to keep this channel clear.
As she says that, a 90s banded metal Omega Red style like whip tentacle wraps around your neck, and you are like dragged and then slammed in like one fluid motion. We see the motion lines as walking out in front of you with 4 tentacles Doc Ock style on the back, 2 tentacles on each arm, kind of like Omega Red. So that's 8 tentacles total. This is Dark Whip. So the tentacles also got to be like that. They're drawn with like the
black. It's the black energy,
and they got the white
like sunspot.
The white line work with the black. Yeah, they're drawn like that. Dark Whip is standing in front of you and is like, it's time to put the lights out on Bad Cry. Your thing buzzes. That's Dark Whip. They've been outfitted with cybernetic whips from the nth dimension.
Well, he's trying to whip it out in front of me, and all I want is that cum.
All right, let's roll some dice.
All right. I have all my pouches back, so again, I'm going to use a pouch.
All right, and they're rolling their 2 cyber, so they've got 2 successes.
I also have 2 successes.
So we stare each other down.
And we banter. We banter. I've heard of you, Dark Whip. I've heard about what you did in the jungles of Granada. Those
were desperate times, and they took desperate measures. We did what had to be done.
I know that you claimed you were there to spread freedom for those students, but in reality, you were just pushing Mountain Dew on the unsuspecting populace.
It's a new world, Bad Cry. You take the paycheck where you can get it. Just like you're taking a paycheck from Dr. Pibb. What do you really know about Mr. Pibb, Bad Cry?
I know that he isn't a doctor, and that's why he's proud to just be a man. Unlike Mountain Dew, or should I say, Mountain Ooh. This is hurting my voice.
This is hurting my voice a lot. This is getting to be some rough audio. I think that it's until one of us flies away. Like, this just effectively means the battle doesn't happen, which is great.
It is great. It's basically we both withdraw. But how about all right? So we have to have a reason, because I can't just have it both. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Bad Cry reaches into his pouch and he pulls out an A&W root beer and he goes, I know your loyalties are with Mountain Dew, but have you ever tried a little bit of this refreshment? And he tosses an A&W root beer to, what was his name again? Dark Whip.
Dark Whip.
And Dark Whip catches it with a whip, pounds it back and goes, you've made a lot of really good points. And then he just leaves, right?
He just leaves. He was in it for the money, and he's been off and given an offer. Now I don't need to die for this.
And now he's an anti-hero.
Yeah. Now we're getting the Dark Whip solo series is ready to kick off.
Yep. He's been venomed.
Yeah.
All right.
And as that happens, I think two more. I think as he's walking off, 2 more people appear in front of you. One of them, I'm looking at the cover for BLOODP.O.U.C.H, and like, there's just obviously a Wolverine on here. So I feel like this is also just a Wolverine.
Yeah, he loves doing that, where it's just a knockoff Wolverine.
Except instead of 3 claws, he only has 1 big Baraka claw on each arm, because this is Force Claw.
Force Claw, okay.
And the other is got big shoulder guns. Like the epaulets are also like munitions cannons.
Okay.
Because this is War Pain.
War Pain?
So I think gun arms and also shoulder guns.
Gotcha. I'm going to go for the gun guy first.
Okay.
Because I think that's what Battlecry would do. Because he's more or less a short, whatchamacallit. Have I gained any more pouches, by the way?
Let's see. How many people have you beaten?
I killed 1. You said the early guys didn't have pouches.
So you killed one. So you've killed 2 people. So you've got 2 points. So you can buy 2 extra pouches or 2 extra weapons, but you've already maxed out the number of weapons that you can carry, or you can save it to buy muscle or cyber as we go.
Okay. Gotcha. I want to buy an extra pouch. I will use 1 point to buy an extra pouch. I'm up to 4 pouches now. Because I have to see. I see what you're saying though. I have to buy muscle to then be able to buy weapons because I don't have enough slots. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for War Pain. So base 3 plus my cyber. I'm gonna use 2 pouches.
That's War Pain. The U.S. military souped him up with all their latest weapons, and then he went rogue. He can't be trusted. He can't be bargained with. You're gonna have to outshoot this one, Bad Cry.
Oh, I'll make sure that I shoot loads into his face because I want that cum.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Yeah.
I got 2 successes.
And he is rolling 5 dice. He got 3 successes.
No.
All right, so that's 3 dice. That's 4 for his muscle, and that's 4 for his weapons. God, that's so many dice. That is 11 dice, and you are trying to beat 2 successes.
Okay. So I have my 3 I start with, then I get my 2 cyber, and then however many pouches I want to use.
Correct. And you're trying to beat 2 successes.
All right, I'm gonna do 1 pouch. I got no successes.
All right. So you lose that 1 pouch plus an additional pouch. Describe the battle damage that we see.
Okay, so he comes in, Bad Cry comes in to try to throw an uppercut with his gun gauntlet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in to do an uppercut, but because Rob Liefeld is so terrible at perspective, Bad Cry himself did not realize that he was still 15 feet away from War Pain. So War Pain's shoulder guns just start blasting. They just start blasting. He takes a hit to the shoulder. But he blocks the other one. He blocks a couple of them like Wonder Woman style using his cyber arms. But he takes one to the shoulder, and he also takes another one to the chest, like into a pouch.
Yeah.
So that's how he loses 2 pouches.
All right. Which means it's your action.
Okay, so it's my action, so I get to fight back now. So I got 3 base, 3 muscles, 3 of that, and I will use 1 pouch. So, all right. This is a lot of dice. Wish I had those 4 to start out with, though. That's 3 successes.
You obliterate. Describe how you obliterate War Pain.
So the first blast, those first 2 blasts kind of knocked Bad Cry back, but Bad Cry fell back into a bunch of crates, one of which was full of trampolines. Mm-hmm. And so he springs out. Almost like kind of what's the cannonball special?
Yeah.
So
fastball special.
Fastball special. So he springs out of it. He's like, and he just yells. He's like, "I'm gonna make you tear up while I tear you up." And he punches again right in the face. He punches War Pain directly in the face. Head explodes everywhere. Yeah. So I know that I'm still in battle, so I'm not going to gain those other 2 pouches back.
Right.
But now I have to go start again.
And I'm going to roll my 3 dice plus 4 cyber.
4 cyber? You don't got a lot of muscle, that means. So I got 3 plus my 2. And I will add 1 more pouch onto that.
And that is 4 successes.
I have 4 successes.
All right. I think that the banter, I love that we get more banter from Force Claw.
What does Force Claw sound like, by the way?
Force Claw sounds like, have you ever seen the 1989 pilot for X-Men and Kitty Pryde in the X-Men?
No, I've never seen it.
It was a pilot that they produced for the X-Men. It's actually what the X-Men arcade game is based on.
Okay.
So the roster it's not Kitty Pryde in the X-Men. It might even be Dazzler in the X-Men.
I think it's Dazzler because Dazzler's in the game.
Yeah. And so it is Kitty Pryde is in the episode, but not in the video game. But the animated cast is the same as the video game, so it's Colossus, Dazzler, Storm, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Wolverine. And they make Wolverine Australian.
Okay. So it's just Australian Baraka Wolverine?
Yeah.
I might.
Well, mate. And I think like stands up, stares you down, and is like, "Oh, mate, that's quite impressive fighting you showed off here. Too bad Wavehammer's gonna ring your bell."
Well, if you want me to face Wavehammer, why don't you just get out of my way and enjoy a frosty A&W root beer?
And I think like lowers down. Wavehammer lowers down, riding the hammer like a Segway.
Okay.
And like Force Claw, sure enough, just like steps aside and lets Wavehammer get into it. I am gonna let you refresh your pouches here.
Okay.
This is our ultimate boss battle.
This is the boss battle.
Wavehammer, God, like riding the hammer. I'm thinking specifically like open dress shirt, but also still with epaulets.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing.
He needs a ribbon cape.
Gotta have a ribbon cape, and specifically it's a ribbon cape that kind of comes up into a cowl, kind of like Space Ghost style, but like it's in part because he's got an oxygen mask on because he's aquatic themed, and it goes down into the paneling on his chest, which is not explained.
Yeah, and the ribbons are for some reason also oxygen tubes.
Yes.
But to be fair, we are on dry land right now.
Yes.
Okay. Battlecry just goes, "You must be Wavehammer." And he finally pulls his Scully off to reveal that he has long, luscious white hair.
Oh, God,
and
white
it's
hair.
not mullety, it's wavy, it's gorgeous, it's blowing in the wind, even though we're indoors. And he's just kind of standing there like proudly, big chest. And I want to get another pouch, by the way.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm at 5 pouches now. Okay.
All right. Wavehammer also pulls back his mask, still wearing the oxygen mask, but pulls back the cowl, also wavy white hair, as the two of you are staring down one another. Hops off of the hammer, holds it in his hand in like a way that like would not make sense to hold a hammer.
Gotcha.
The hilt, I should note that like the hilt and the hammer don't actually like, they're not parallel, they don't go the same way, which makes it even more confusing.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna roll my attack dice.
I'm gonna use 3 pouches this time, leaving me with 2 in reserve.
All right, because you need to get 1 success to beat Wavehammer.
I got 3 successes.
All right, roll 4 extra dice in your first attack.
All right, so I get those 4 plus my 3 baseline plus my 3 muscle plus that one over here. All right, this is an insane amount of dice.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change a rule here.
So I only all of that I got 2 successes.
All right, let me roll my defense dice, but I am going to change a rule here as I roll this. The rule of the game as written is that if you get more successes, your opponent loses 1 pouch. That is unsatisfying to me, and it is going to be you. The difference in successes, they lose that many pouches or stats.
Yeah. That makes so much more sense, or else we'd be sitting here just trading blows back and forth for an hour and a half, which would make this a Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
but
it's not Rob Liefeld where everyone is just exploding in blood forever.
Yeah.
All right, so I am rolling my cyber plus 3, which is 5 dice total. That is 2 successes.
All right, so we're even.
All right. So we clash, we trade some bantering, and then I'm going to go on the attack.
Okay.
I think Wavehammer, we like you let out an energy blast that like holds my hammer at bay. Takes a lot of power to block Wavehammer's hammer. Let's see if you can block this.
Okay.
It's going to roll 3 muscle, 3 weapon for just the gigantic hammer, plus 3 core dice. So that's 9 dice total. That is 4 successes.
Okay. So I'm going to use 3 pouches. So
All right.
3 base plus my 2 cyber. Blew past it.
All right.
Five successes.
All right.
So Bad Cry catches the gauntlet. Catches the hammer again, and is this time using the weapon, his gun, to like fire to get it up. And he goes, and he keeps getting, "You're trying to drop your fat hammer on my face, and I just want that cum."
Great. Give me that attack roll.
All right. So that's 3 plus 3 plus I'm gonna do plus weapon, plus another 3 pouches. All right, we're going for the big boys here. I mean, getting a 5 or 6 is stupid high. It should be a 4 plus.
It should be.
Let's see, 1, 2, 2.
All right,
for 2.
All right, I am rolling 2 cyber plus 3 dice. That is 1 success. You knock out a pouch.
Nice. So when that happens, it's because he finally, using the gauntlet, he knocks the hammer to the side and then takes a step back. And actually, for the first time in his life, Bad Cry realizes that his gun gauntlet is actually a distance weapon and just fires once and does a glancing blow onto the shoulder pad. Again, because everything's always a shoulder wound. Shoulder pad of Wave Hammer.
Down here in Florida, we were taught to fight with honor and not cheap tricks like guns. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Okay.
3. Somehow there's all still like the number of math that I have to do every time.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Because you have what, 3 muscles? So you need 9 dice to begin with.
Yes.
And then it's like, all right, what else do I want to add?
I'm adding both of my pouches. So if I succeed at this, it's going to do extra. But if I don't, I'm going to lose all my pouches.
Gotcha.
And I really might, because I've only got 2 successes.
Okay. So I get my 3 plus my 2. I'll use 2 pouches as well, which will leave me 3 in reserve. 2. Tie.
All right. So I don't lose my pouches, but I don't do any damage. We lock up.
Again, we're just evenly. We're even. I'm just like, you know what I do? You know what happens now? Because this is classic 90s. I lay in and I'm like, your fighting style is so similar to mine. Where did you come from? And that's when Wavehammer reveals that they're actually clones of each other's twin brothers.
100%. 100%.
Because this is X-Force and Strife and Cable and all that bullshit.
Yes,
3,
100%.
6, 9. Again, I'm going to use another 3. I'm going to do 12. And that Bad Cry goes, I don't care if you're my brother. I'm just here for that sweet cum. 1, 2, 3. 3.
You knock out both of my pouches. I got no successes, and then knock down. I'm just gonna call the fight at 0 pouches. Like, I'm supposed to go on for 5 more points, but it feels more satisfying to say you've reduced my pouches.
I feel
to
like
0.
pouches is it. It's called blood pouches, not blood cyber muscles.
So you.
So I don't kill you. I'm not killing you.
Yeah.
I've disarmed you at this point of your hammer. I take the hammer. Bad Cry takes the hammer. He goes, "You'll never make anyone cry with this hammer again." And then snaps it in half. And he goes, and he turns to me. He goes, "You're not only a clone of my twin brother, but I would like to call you my ally as we go and get that."
We get the Predator handshake. And out from the shadows steps. Out from the shadows, you get the slow clap. Out from the shadows emerges Mr. Pibb. It's just the outline with just the white eye and the scar.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's him. Comes out. Well done, Bad Cry. You have procured me my cum. Unfortunately, now it's time for me to tie up a few loose ends of my own. And the dramatic cliffhanger that we are ending on. When I was rolling up names, I rolled a result that I've been saving for the very, very end. Walking out behind them is like an all-black silhouette. And then the final shot, and I need you to join me in describing this character. He just points, and in big stylized like title letters, "Behold my real weapon, the real key that's going to grant me the immortality seed. Force.
Force. Oh my god. Oh, I
Force
can't even...
has big like gauntlet hands, big fists.
all metal.
All metal.
All metal. All metal. Oh my god, Force. Oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay. Force is all metal, but what you don't notice at first, and you actually notice a little bit finally, is that he's like Master Blaster. He's actually two people. So he's giant. He's a giant, almost robot thing, right?
You know, Nimrod from the X-Men, where he's got the like, and it's great because he's the ideal Liefeld character because he doesn't have feet. They just end in like cylindrical. They just end in cylinders.
Yeah, but on top, what is his head is actually separate, and the head can separate from the body like the saucer section of the Enterprise D and go into battle mode. And that they control each other. So that way he is a removable like weapons platform head that is a separate entity. And he has there's a box in his stomach that is also the other entity, whether that's a person, whether that's just some, fucking wires. I don't know.
Yeah. And is like,
I am tired and hungry.
Is looming over Mr. Pibb as Wave Hammer and Bad Cry stare them down. And like, that's the cliffhanger at the end of the issue. And that is game. Alex, thank you for playing Rob Liefeld's Blood Pouch with me.
I'm so depressed. That's a pun, by the way.
I feel so happy about this.
Because I'm soda pressed.
Hey! God, this was funny as hell.
This was the dumbest thing we've done. Like, between Jewish Ric Flair, Crazy Town by Butterfly, and now Bad Cry screaming for cum. I feel like we peaked. I'll be interested to hear the feedback on this episode from your faithful listeners.
Hit us up in the comments. Hit us up. Hit us on Discord. Hit us on the comments. Give us your thoughts. I want to hear them. I want detailed breakdowns.
And y'all, this was an event for me. I haven't actually played an RPG over Zoom in about a year, so this is a good throwback for me too. Reminded me how bad we used to have it. But Jeff, I'm going to have you on my podcast soon.
I'm excited. I would
love
very
to have
excited.
you on there. Want to have you lore dump on us a little bit.
I'm excited. I've got things I want to lore dump about.
I know you do. So this was a lot of fun. I never want to think of this again.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable. I think that's a reasonable feeling. I feel like we've finished. There's definitely Party of One episodes where I end and I'm like, I want to bring this character back and continue more of this story. I feel like we did it. I feel like we reached the end. I feel like this comic was canceled on this issue.
Yeah, I feel like we never actually found out who Force was. And then people are like, wait, does Bad Cry have a twin? He's a clone of his twin. That means that Bad Cry has or had a twin. None of these are ever answered. For 25 years when they try to bring it back as a prequel.
It is written by like a respected name in comics that like, you're like, you're better than this. Why are you here?
Gotcha.
Alex, thank you again for coming on the show. Real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Like I said before, they can find me under Pearlmania 500 across social media, except for Twitter. And they can, everything. I've changed everything to Pearlmania 500. So on YouTube, Instagram, our podcast that's hosted on Acast, which I was just informed violates community guidelines and cannot be sponsored. So
great.
I'm literally open
That's
that email.
exciting.
Okay, cool. So that's just great fun stuff there. Pearlmania 500 and the Them Boys podcast. Always a good time. And we are on Patreon, all those other fun things. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. This was a blast. And now I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thank you again to Alex for coming on the show. There's so much about that game that I am truly just speechless. I love this game. I love my friend Alex. I love the stories that we tell on this podcast. This makes me extremely happy, and I'm so happy that we got to do this. Anyway, be sure to head to the show notes for links to all of Alex's information, the TikTok, the Patreon, the podcast. Find all of that good stuff. You can't find Alex on Twitter because he has thankfully, rightfully made the decision not to be on Twitter. We have, however, not made that decision, so you can find us at Party of One Pod. Then you can also find us on Facebook, which feels actually like a worse decision, at facebook.com/Party of One Podcast. We're also on TikTok at Party of One Podcast, Tumblr at Party of One Pod, and on Discord at bit.ly/Party of One Discord. If you enjoy the show, there's a bunch of ways you can support it. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer. You can buy some merch at bit.ly/Party of One merch. There's actually a sale going on from now until the end of the month. Go get some cheap Party of One merch. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. I don't know, say some nice things about us on social media. It's been kind of shitty on social media lately, so I would really appreciate it. Or just, tell a friend about the show, honestly. If you're looking for more great podcasts to check out All My Fantasy Children. It's a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener prompts, where my best friend and I, Aaron Catano-Saez, take a listener-submitted prompt, we spin it into an original fantasy character, and populate a shared universe one story at a time. We are currently doing something very big and special on the show, and you should really go and check it out. I think that you will have a lot of fun with it, and I hope that you engage with the thing that we're doing. And the other podcast that I produce, or I guess produced, it's over now, but it's still a podcast that I love, so I'm going to continue shouting it out, is Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, an award-winning actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. You can find that show at tinyurl.com/Yazeba's podcast. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. And the theme song to Rob Liefeld's BLOODP.O.U.C.H is Super Metal by Loyalty Freak Music. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, press coverage of the show, or about coming onto the show as a guest, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And I'm pretty sure that's all we do here, so until next time, remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance, and as always, party on, everybody.